One. It is August 7, 2023. Well, we've had thunderstorms, a tree fell down in the back. I heard this crack, and fortunately, it's away from the cabin and away from my car. The thunder was pretty intense. And then it stopped, all of it stopped, but then they brought about more for us here in North Georgia. Tornadoes today in Illinois. Oh, it's quite the life today, being at war with those who know we're at war, we're not doing anything to fight it, and a whole lot of people just don't want to know. So, welcome to the exceptional US of A. Nanotechnology, artificial intelligence controlling our weather. So, how are you guys? Let's see who's in the house. Lindy London, hello. Lindy, thank you for all of your support and showing up. Thank you. Analog Synth Player, Judith Linfor. All of you guys, thank you for your support. Curious Georgia. Sherry Hughes, thank you very much. Marty Lauderdale, thank you very much. Super Painting 62, Rage Against the Machine. And Rainy Cascadia, Daryl. Hello. Oracle 11, excuse me, Hypocrites Matrix. Oh boy, what a day. And I do want to say, definitely, absolutely, frequencies are definitely at play in what is taking place. I didn't feel physically horrible today, but boy, was I just mentally shot, just emotionally not very good. And I just kept hitting the bed. Oh, the exhaustion. So I shouldn't say not physical. The exhaustion was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I kept trying to get up. I kept trying to do things, and I ended up back in bed. But certainly when the thunder started and the trees were swaying and the torrential downpours are pouring, I hang out with my cats because they get scared. Mark Williams, hello. Will, hello. Amber Eyes. So yeah, so this is where I am. The thunder sounding like bowling balls hitting pins or something. It just went on and on and on. And I thought that was it, but nope, they brought something back for us. I don't have a whole lot. I've just been very off today, but I'll show you some captures. I did have captures yesterday, but I didn't put them in the right folder. So this was today, and this is at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm looking at this storm that's whipping right on across Oklahoma into Arkansas. And yes, I was pretty sure they were going to be bringing this on down to the southeast. And they did. Look at this this storm twirling about up north. It's just incredible. It's not real, folks. It's manufactured by man. Okay. Good news is power stayed on. Look at Montana. Very, very powerful, extremely low frequencies that pretty much cover the entire state. Not good. This was at 12.
That's draped across portion.
12:39. I began to hear thunder in the distance, and I'm here. So these storms were miles away, but yeah, I heard it. You know, the blanket of cloud has really changed the sound of thunder. So I was looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna get it. We're definitely gonna get it. A little concerned about Ohio. Anybody in Ohio? Anything happen? But look at these. Look at this thing. Okay, so the thunder started. This now is at 2:25 p.m. Thunder started, but look at all the right-angled pitches to this weather front, to this activated nano front, squared off. Wow, that's a wow right angle right here. And got another one in Arkansas. But of course, everything is a supercell today. Everything is a supercell. Look at all of these severe thunderstorms. The supercells, and the supercells igniting up here. You got Kentucky and West Virginia. They're just bringing it on. And this is when the thunder got really loud. I'm not going to put on the audio because you can't really hear it. But the tree went down right at the start of this, which you can't really hear. So I'm telling you guys, if you can afford to get rid of trees that are around your homes, if you can figure out where to park your car, that it's not going to get hit by a tree, then do it. Then do it. But the winds did really kick up. Look how they're blowing up these clouds. This is Tennessee, North Georgia, Alabama. And I go to, look at the right-angled cloud mass up here. Let me put that back. Unbelievable. This is so evidence. It's evidence. Evidence right smack in your face that man is controlling the cloud layer. Remember? Right here. Look at this. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, LBJ. Who controls the weather controls the world. We will be able to control the world's cloud layer. You see the frequencies going shot right through here, up here in Tennessee. So I'm right here, and this is when it got bad. Yeah, I mean, to live this over and over and over again, and you know it's manufactured. Look at all of the activated nanobots. Okay, when I say that, I can't say with surety, with absoluteness that these are nanobots activating. But based on my research, I can't figure out anything else that these things just suddenly appear. They're little blips, that they're nanobots. Self-assembly, self-assembling nanobots to create severe weather for us. Because this is not how, and they're all supercells. Look at, they're all like these down here also in Georgia, just I guess north of Atlanta. So, ain't it fun? Ain't life fun today, huh? Look at this now. This is current radar. And upstate, there are states that I'm going to have to check tomorrow. But look at this entire string. It's a string of precipitation moving through Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, up to New York State, on into Canada. String. Mother Nature didn't make strings. Mother Nature didn't make these severe thunderstorms all over the place, instantly created. People are getting destroyed. Animals are getting destroyed. Life is getting destroyed. It really should upset everybody. But who am I to say? So, let's see what took place today. An explosion at a port in Turkey. Another port explosion. That's a pretty mighty big port explosion. That happened earlier today. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but it's happening. So, multiple people injured, rushed to the hospital. We've got port explosions going on in an awful lot of places. Here it is. Oh. Okie dokie, so we also have extreme weather in the United States. What a surprise.
Millions are under severe weather warnings across the nation, from triple-digit heat in the south to damaging storms in the Midwest. A tornado touched down in central Illinois overnight, with other areas threatened as storms move east. The potentially dangerous conditions are expected to continue into the week. Omar Villafranca has the latest.
This is the devastation left behind after a tornado swept through Christian County, Illinois late Sunday, some 25 miles southeast of Springfield. Homes ripped apart and downed trees that caused power lines to spark. The damaging storms come as the southern half of the nation continues to roast under the summer sun. Texas, Florida, and California are set to endure another day of heat warnings and watches. In Arizona, Phoenix authorities believe heat is to blame after a woman was found dead on a remote hiking trail late Friday, where afternoon temperatures peaked at 115 degrees.
Right now, during this heat, just be very mindful of the times you're hiking.
In Texas, the excessive heat is causing the price of electricity to surge. The state runs on its own independent energy grid, and during peak usage on Sunday, costs rose to more than $2,500 a megawatt hour.
That is not super typical for us to have it hot all over the state at the same time. We're dealing with multiple 100-degree days, one after the other. So folks tend to consume quite a bit more energy.
Dallas is now on a 20-day streak of triple-digit temperatures, but heat reflected off city streets can add up to 20 degrees. So the city just participated in a NOAA study to map its hottest neighborhoods.
Knowing which areas are going to be the hottest will help us know where we can plant trees or put certain types of cement that are going to not reflect as much heat.
And I'm sure you're not going to be lied to. So get those trees ready. surge of tornadoes in Illinois this year raises questions. Oh, well, what do you think the answer is? I think it's got the initials CC. I didn't even see this broadcast, but just let's listen to the first little bit, as much as, well, I was going to say we can tolerate, but I don't know how much you can tolerate, how much I can tolerate.
Illinois has certainly seen more than its fair share of tornadoes this year. Seems like every week we just keep adding to the total. And it's bringing out quite a few questions. Joining me now is Victor Gensini. He is Associate Professor with the Department of Earth, Atmosphere, and Environment at Northern Illinois University. And Victor, we added to the tornado tally yesterday in the Chicago area. Blissfully missed out on that. But downstate, we had more tornadoes, right?
Just southeast of Springfield, an embedded supercell with a circulation we think produced maybe an EF1, perhaps EF2. We'll see what the surveys look like today. Mike, this has been the severe weather season that just won't stop across the Midwest, and specifically Illinois. We're now up to what looks like 125 tornadoes for this year's count, and that puts us at the top of the list.
And I mean, by far, Alabama's like 30 behind or something, right?
Yeah, it's not like this is a close race.
Right,
I mean, we're
exactly.
well in the lead at this point. And I'll tell you what, in the near future here, over the next couple of weeks, it looks like this active pattern is going to continue.
Well, so far, there's been some damage in the Chicago area. We have not had any loss of life. I'm unaware of really any serious injuries here, so we've been lucky in that regard. But the nature of the tornadoes so far, particularly in Chicagoland, they've all been fairly weak. Now, they're doing tree damage. Here's a barn that's blown down. What are your...
Blah, 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 blah. How ignorant these two are. All one need do is a little bit of research to find out, man is controlling the weather. 4 tornado reports in southern Colorado on Saturday.
Now, is a different story in Missouri. Unfortunately, the tornado did touch down. EF2 tornado damage.
Oh, I'm sorry. This was today in Missouri.
Here, look at that power pole just completely bent over. Here, the classic sign of tornado damage with those trees snapped in half, the bark ripped apart from the tree itself. And we have buildings that are kind of unrecognizable. Unfortunately, multiple families are without a home now after this tornado carved a 1.5 mile long path of destruction. It was 450 yards, that path of destruction. 6 reports of tornadoes across northern Missouri over the weekend, and we actually had strong enough winds that railroad equipment was completely destroyed. So definitely some destructive weather across Missouri. I'm Amy Free.
I'm sorry, that was Saturday for Missouri. Wildfires growing in western Washington.
Update for you on the sourdough fire burning in Whatcom County. That fire grew 14 times its size just between Thursday and Friday. It was 38 acres. Now it's burning at 534 acres. It is burning uncontained. Fire officials say there's been significant fire growth along the southern edge of the fire, downhill to Diablo Dam Road and to the northeast towards Sourdough Creek. They say all of this is due to hot, dry, and windy conditions. There are evacuation orders in effect for the North Cascades Environmental Learning Center. There's also no access across Diablo Dam until further notice. There are trail area and camp closures in effect as well because of the fire. Fire crews say this fire was lightning caused. Over in Okanogan County, crews are making progress fighting the Eagle Bluff fire. It's burning around 16,000 acres in size. It hasn't grown much over the last few days, though. As of yesterday, it was 45% contained. That is up from 30% the day before. Still no word yet on what caused that fire.
Rapidly growing wildfire in Lynn County prompts evacuations.
Take a look at this. Level 3 go now evacuation orders have been issued for part of the Mount Tom area of southern Lynn County. That's due to this wildfire that sparked late this afternoon. The Princeboro fire is burning near Princeboro Drive, about 9 miles east of Harrisburg and north of Coburg, east of I-5. It started about 4 o'clock. It's burned about 100 acres so far.
Wow, that's pretty quick, huh?
Yeah, look at it. It's amazing. The state fire marshal has now activated 2 task force to fight this fire.
And this is in Oregon 2 days ago. Fatal fire devastates Lakewood community. This is the fires in Washington.
And this fire really took a toll on the entire neighborhood.
It did, Frankie. And it's a heartbreaking situation. Not only are their homes reduced to rubble, but they also lost their neighbors. Many want answers on how this fire started and who may have been responsible.
I was like screaming at everyone to run. I was like, run for your lives, run. And all I was thinking about was my baby, trying to get him safely to the street.
It was a dramatic scene Friday as a brush fire began racing towards residents in the Jamestown Estates mobile home park, leaving little time for escape.
This was my home for the last 5 years.
Michael Martin didn't hear the fire approaching because he had headphones on. A relative saved him after nearly kicking in the door to alert him to the danger.
My dog's kennel is over there.
He was able to grab a dog and a cat, but fire soon overtook the home.
This bedroom, I kept running back to, trying to find my cat who ran under the bed, and all we have is his bones under here.
Also lost in the fire, hopes and dreams for the future.
This section here is my living room, and going through everything you've worked for and built for the last 5 years, and seeing it like this is, it's crushing.
Next door.
And do you see how, wow, they got this fire out in such a defined line, because all of that should have just gone up. All of this right here should have gone up. What's going on? That's a very defined line of fire, which people should be questioning.
Seeing it like this is, it's crushing.
Next door, the Galvez family scrambled but was unable to save their home.
We ran outside and turned on all the hose from both sides.
Yesterday was Medai's birthday, now memorable for all the wrong reasons.
So I had to run away because I felt the heat was really strong. I was so scared that I had lost them, so I was really worried. And as soon as I saw their car, I was so relieved. Just thinking about the fact that if I had lost them, I don't know what I'd do.
The Galvez family says tragically their next door neighbors, Zach and Pat, lost their lives in the fire.
Every day I would see him out here walking his dog.
Every day he would wave at my little boy. And everything has changed now. Everything is different.
They say Pat was elderly, used oxygen, and had mobility issues.
I know that he was loved by his family, and we pray for his family members who are now trying to go through their grief.
It was something that certainly that if us as apostolic believers in the faith of Christ, that this would not be something that we could easily move on without that trust that we have in God.
Michael says cats Sora, a calico, and Salem, a black cat, are still missing. He's hoping neighbors can help to find them. He says this trailer was his first house after he'd become homeless, once living in this burned up Mustang.
This trailer pulled us off the streets and out of our cars, and even that is now gone. So we're trying to rebuild. Someone's responsible for this.
Friends and family have started an online fundraiser for both the Martins and the Galvez families.
This is amazing, man. This is so... Why is everybody talking about Temu ads? What's Temu? What are these ads? I've never seen them. Maybe I should have just done a live on Timo ads. I found this documentary, or this, just Peter Santinello goes around, and interviews people living differently in different cultures. Dinner with the Amish, with the Mennonites. I found it extremely interesting and amazing. Also was a sadness developed because we Americans have lived the wrong way. The wrong way. And there are certain like subcultures of people that have still retained family being like number one importance, community, helping one another, dinner with the Mennonites. It was really very moving, actually, considering what we have today, what we're living today, in Holmes County, Ohio. I will put the link in. If you're interested, check it out. Temu, Chinese company that advertises on YouTube. I haven't seen one ad. Oh, you did see that video, T-Lam. Yes, they clearly are living the better way. Yeah, I wouldn't like the dresses, but man, they really have shown how seriously satanic our American lifestyle is. So Oak Grove wildfire in Hays County, this is Texas.
And a wildfire is burning out of control in south central Texas. The Oak Grove fire in Hays County has grown to 400 acres since last night and is nearly 30% contained. Crews continue to work around the clock to stop the flames from growing, and with critical fire weather and rocky terrain, it's a slow process. Texas A&M Forest Service told us at least one home has been destroyed today, and there could be more. Evacuation notices, though, have been lifted. The Oak Grove wildfire ignited on Oak Grove Road in North San Marcos yesterday afternoon. The wildfire was previously called the Foxfire. Now, a multi-agency effort is on the scene offering support. You've got National Guard helicopters. They've made beneficial water drops on hot spots to difficult to access areas of that fire. Now, Hays County has updated its temporary flight restriction to a no-fly zone after a drone was found in the airspace above the fire last night.
Fires. How about Portugal? Seems a whole lot of these fires are coming from the ground. And we've got Italy. Did you see that? France backs West Africa's bid to undo the Niger coup. Yay! Undo it. when you have Western countries that are getting involved in coups, you know that the coup was probably a good thing. So, I received this from Marty just seconds before I went live. Could we shake rain out of the sky? Aiming powerful low-frequency sound waves at clouds could help to increase rainfall and alleviate droughts. When was this? February 2021. Researchers used low-frequency sound waves to excite water vapor particles. The sound causes the particles to vibrate and come together as larger droplets. This then allows the larger droplets to fall as rain and increase rainfall levels. The team say a test in 2020 saw rainfall increases by as much as 17%. Low-frequency sound waves aimed at a cloud could help to increase rainfall, alleviate drought in otherwise dry areas. It could even put out fires. How about that? Using sound waves to increase rainfall. Experiments have been done. Wow. Extremely low frequencies. And you still can't get... I mean, look, mainstream media has covered enough of the weather modification for people to even just, raise an eyebrow or question the massive amounts of rainfall that is happening all over the world, destroying farms and homes, and businesses, people, animals. Don't you think? They're so glued to mainstream media, they think they're just so on it, right? I'm thinking about my former friends. Oh, they were so worldly because they read the New York Times or they watched CBS News at 6:30 p.m. and it was about 14 minutes of news. Yeah. Well, here it is. I'll put the link in the chat. Should you want to circulate it to those who think that you're a conspiracy theorist and, they're addicted to mainstream media. Oh, just take a sound wave. I mean, everything that we have been discussing for years and years. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, how about this? Public anger grows after floodwaters deliberately diverted to save China's capital. That's a lot of floodwater right there. In Hubei province, it sustained severe flooding due to the Chinese Communist regime's deliberate use of the locales as a moat to protect China's capital city of Beijing. Well, it stands to reason, considering Beijing, the capital city of China, they have to be protected, so screw all of you. Those government officials that are so caring about the people. But here, just in case you're anxious about climate change.
Voices of Americans and how climate change is affecting their feelings. Leslie Davenport is a climate psychology therapist. She teaches at the California Institute of Integral Studies and is author of Emotional Resiliency in the Era of Climate Change. Leslie, when does healthy concern about the planet, about climate change, become this sort of climate anxiety?
Well, from the emerging field of climate psychology, one thing that's really important to understand is we view distress, upset, sadness, grief, anger about climate change to be a really reasonable, even healthy reaction, because it's built into us as people that if we feel risks, threats, experience losses, there's going to be upset. So it's really important to acknowledge that if you're feeling that on any level of intensity, it really means you're paying attention, you care, you're empathetic to what's happening to our world.
But
it also means you're stupid. It also means you're programmed. It also means you have been so taken with mainstream media and government officials that they're just pounding that climate change narrative into your brain, into your brain, into your brain. You can't think for yourself. You have handed your brain over to those who are lying to you. Nor are you mature because you can't have a civil conversation with other adults in your area because they're conspiracy theorists. A climate therapist, that's right. Feel anxiety about the climate? Pay a therapist. Schmuck. The U.S. has just 22 EV charging points per 1,000 road miles, and it takes forever to charge a car. But don't worry. It's good that they're moving so fast on getting rid of all of the gas-powered cars so that you can drive an electric vehicle. Well, most can't even afford an electric vehicle. But it's good because you're saving the planet. So go out and virtue signal. Think of yourself as a good person because you believe the climate change hoax. Oh my God. This country's a friggin' mess. God. Far fewer than 104 gas pumps per 1,000 miles of road. And Massachusetts is leading the way. They have more EV charging stations than any other state. Of course, Massachusetts. Massachusetts. It wins the blue team medal all the time. I didn't even watch any of this, but let's listen to a few minutes of this. Houses being swallowed by sinkhole, a train wreck in slow motion. This is in Australia.
Hello, I'm Deb Knight. Welcome to A Current Affair. First tonight, the heritage-listed terrace houses being swallowed by a sinkhole. Furious owners claim they warned their council about the problem 19 months ago. Now the fight is on to save a slice of suburban history.
The council have been aware of it and they've done nothing. I'm furious. It's a train wreck in slow motion.
If it's a train wreck, then these are the carriages. 5 terrace houses, some sinking, and the cracks started to show a long time ago.
All this could have been fixed way back in January of 2022 when I first notified the council that there was a problem. We're 19 months later and nothing constructive is being done.
So it's hard to even open the door. Kevin Desira and I have stood in this spot before. It's Albion Street in Melbourne's inner city suburb of Brunswick, and that's Kevin's house. The one being propped up, the one that's been a safety hazard for far too long.
The condition of the house has deteriorated further. There are notices from the council coming down on me left, right and centre to get the house in order.
In February, we visited Kevin's terrace, a heritage-listed two-bedder he bought as an investment property. It was falling apart then, and it's still crumbling.
Yeah, last time we spoke, I was mentioning to you that you could fit a cat through the crack, but I tell you what now, you could fit a fat pig through the crack. It's the cracks are getting bigger, and we're going to run out of livestock at this rate.
But this is no laughing matter.
If it's not fixed, it will damage more buildings, it will damage more homes.
Between the Marybeck City Council and Kevin's insurer, he's stuck between a crack and a very hard place.
They weren't there before. This house has been here for, again, over 100 years. He's never had this sort of cracking, and now it's all of a sudden developed.
Now this one looks okay.
This one is in the infancy. This one here, the girl tells me there is cracking up near the ceiling.
Kevin's paid for plumbers, engineers and reports to prove that the drainage pit next to his house is leaking. He says it's saturating the ground underneath not just his terrace, but his neighbours too, and the road and the footpath. It's a domino effect Kevin blames on the council's inaction.
Not just lazy, they're incompetent. I can't repair the house until they repair the infrastructure that is faulty around the property.
Since our last story aired, all the council's done is sample the soil and threaten Kevin with an $80,000 fine.
Each time there's this threat of $79,000 to $80,000+ if I don't get my act into gear, but I can't get my act into gear while the ground is wet.
The 66-year-old says after he notified the council that a current affair was returning, council took to the pit and fixed what it labelled a minor leak.
It's a start. It will eliminate the amount of water going into the ground in that area.
But it's not enough.
If this problem isn't addressed and rectified in an appropriate manner, you're going to see where the leak is, because there's going to be a big sinkhole.
Town planner and former Chief Commissioner of the Victorian Building Authority, Bill Kuznichuk.
In the end, this is going to be disastrous consequence if people don't put their hand up and accept responsibility for fixing it. And they can fix it. I think it's a water leak underground.
Bill's biggest concern, the walls collapsing.
So you can't afford to build a wall to get to such an extent that it's going to collapse either on people living in premises or on people walking on the footpath or the public realm on the road.
Well, my insurance company has walked away from it because they are trying to say that it wasn't a sudden escape of water.
Kevin's kept a log documenting much of the correspondence he's had over the leakage.
So it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on.
Wow.
All entries of conversations, left a message.
But what stood out the most among Kevin's homework was council admitting it provided Kevin with incorrect, incomplete or difficult to obtain information.
An internal review on themselves was scathing. It highlighted how they had failed in numerous areas, from being incompetent, being evasive, being divisive.
In a statement, a Marybeck City Council spokesperson said,
Initial investigations have shown our drainage pit was unlikely to cause the foundation issues. We must allow time for our insurer to continue to undertake investigations.
If they've checked it and it's all fine, they should be able to demonstrate that with a very robust assessment of what they've done, because it's not all fine.
Unless they take proactive action, a row of heritage listed houses with the facades that they have will be gone forever.
Well, they might.
People are getting screwed left and right. And just in, I'm going to check something. Ow, little one. Little one has been really needing my attention lately. Water rescues, flash flooding, basements flooded. This is Livestorms Media, which I can't play. This is Pennsylvania. Today, 5 minutes ago. I won't play it because I can't play it. But because I'll get a copyright strike. Oh man, oh man. Well, maybe they use sound waves to create an awful lot of flooding. What do you think? Maybe they were, the clouds were hit with extremely low frequencies, or some microwaves, thrown in as well. Okay. Let's see. I didn't get to see this, but I'm going to throw the link into the chat, and I found interesting on their content today's top stories. FDA approves suicidal drug. Okay. Canada, USA, all our governments are just so interested in killing us. All right. Again, okay, I had to pick little one up. If I put the camera on, you could see what is happening here. But wow, he is rather, I had to pick him up from outside. He so wanted to get on my lap. He's on my lap now. He's practically running in circles, and little one. So again, I am going to say 30,000 Americans lose their jobs with one country that has been around for nearly 100 years going bankrupt. 30,000. What are these people going to do? Because there are not a lot of jobs out there. Consumers finally crack. Shocking drop in June credit card debt marks end of spending binge. Spending binge? Well, that sounds like people are just out there, using their credit cards and having such a good time. And there are some people that are doing that, but most have used their credit cards to pay for their electricity, for their heat, for their food, for their rent. And guess what? When you see a headline like this, shocking drop in June credit card, it means that not only have they run out of savings, but now they have their credit and they've maxed it out. A whole lot of people are really going to start showing their stress. We've seen the stress already with an awful lot of people, and there's just going to be more of it. New inherited IRA rules mean heirs could be left with large tax bill. That's right. Parents leaving their children an inheritance. The government wants it. The government wants it. The government's stealing people's money. All right, I can't, this is Zero Hedge. And this literally just I just came across it right as I was going live. So, any of you who are planning to leave anything to your kids, you might want to check out what the IRS is planning. Of course, it's not going to be good. So I'm also going to link below to this article, and I have recommended Brandon Smith's site to bookmark it. Nothing is over. Inflation is about to come back with a vengeance. I didn't get a chance to read it, but it is coming back. Okay. Well, I haven't seen the deer here in days and days, but I have heard gunshots. 1 or 2, which means that people are taking out their guns to shoot something as opposed to just practice. So, okay. Let's be clear. There are 4 types of inflation: creeping, walking, galloping, and hyperinflation. We are going to go to hyperinflation. We just have always believed that it's only other countries that have fallen in that way. Well, we ain't different. Nigeria's new government wants U.S. troops out. Okay. I didn't even listen to this. Let's just listen to this for a few minutes. Anybody who's interested in geopolitics and war and, the takeover of countries, you can click on the link and listen to it. But yeah, okay, Niger, another country where they are it really is hard to be an American, considering what we do.
U.S. suspense. There's a lot of stuff happening in Africa. Africa's getting their shit together, and Africa's done with American imperialism. So U.S. suspends security cooperation with Niger as Europeans evacuate. What? The United States has suspended security cooperation with military forces in Niger following an effort to oust the elected president there, a Pentagon spokesman said. A new acknowledgement of the seriousness of conditions on the ground as the Biden administration grapples with how to respond to last week's apparent coup. The administration has been hesitant to label events in Niger a coup, a designation that under U.S. law could require the cessation of both security and economic assistance because of the country's key role as a Western ally in counterterrorism efforts in Africa's Sahel region, where the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, and other terror groups are active, and its status as one of the few remaining democracies in the region. Is that a word? Riven by military overthrow. I would say driven, right?
Yeah, I think they just forgot the date.
When they called them a Western ally, what that means is they do whatever the United States imperialists tell them to do. Yeah. That's what that means.
France.
After investing deeply in its relationship with deposed President Mohamed Bazoum, who took office in 2021 in the first democratic transfer of power since Niger's independence from France in 1960, the administration had viewed Niger as a hopeful democratic outpost in the region. Now policymakers say they face choices in which a misstep could make the situation worse, even as they hold out hope that it's not too late to restore the democratically elected leader to power. Are you fucking kidding me? Of course, this is the Washington Post saying this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike. So correct me if I'm wrong on this. Kurt, you're not Kurt, you're Craig.
Yes.
So this is another case of the American imperialist capitalists losing control of a country.
Absolutely.
That country wanted to have democratic self-rule.
Yes. They wanted their own national sovereignty and their own resources, Jimmy. They want to keep them, but France and United States are deep in there. So when they say hopeful democratic outpost, you mean their whole hopeful dictator puppet government.
The puppet government.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what they're saying is the United States and France are shitting their pants because they lost their puppet government, and they call that, we hope we can get democracy back, right? That's what they say. The United States has 2 military bases inside Niger. About 1,000 troops are deployed there for counterterrorism purposes and partnered operations with Niger's military forces. There's no decision to use them in any way to support evacuation efforts by other countries, and there have been no decisions made about pre-positioning any additional U.S. forces in or nearby Niger for that purpose. If we have to make adjustments, we'll make adjustments. We're just not there yet, said that spokesman for the Biden, Kirby. U.S. constructed air base in Niger begins operations. And just to let you know, these are the United States military bases around the world. Oh, where's Niger? I don't even know.
I can't. Yeah, it's on the west part of the country over there. Yeah, it's landlocked in. But the region has now said if they come in there and start messing around, the neighbors they're gonna push back to as well. So you see this kind of like Pan-African kind of forming over there where they're going to start protecting each other. They want the French out. They want the West out. They want them gone. Burkina Faso, Niger, they're pushing back.
And this is our bases in Africa. That's the United States. That's the United States military bases. It's not Russia's. That's not China. That's not Africa's. That's the United States military bases in Africa. Yep.
And boy, this government is just all over the world, hopping from here to there. God, we're so worldly. China and Russia sent huge naval flotilla toward Alaska. Oh my God. U.S. responds by dispatching destroyers. What? Unprecedented in size. And it sparked alarm in the Pentagon, given it took place off Alaska, causing the U.S. to dispatch 4 Navy warships and aerial assets in the same waters. Oh, Russia and China coming close. The largest such flotilla to approach American shores in recent history, but it never entered American territorial waters. Thank God. Otherwise, we could be at war. 11 Russian and Chinese ships steamed close to the Aleutian Islands. I remember posting on the Aleutian Islands and Obama wanting to give them back to Russia. Yeah, well, if you know where the Aleutian Islands are, that's pretty friggin' close to Alaska. These are the Aleutian Islands. Oh boy. They're still shooting off their guns. Russia's economy projected to grow despite Western sanctions. Russia's doing fine. Oh, it's such a staged play. It's a sick play that we're watching, but yep. Imran Khan sentenced to 3 years in jail, banned from politics ahead of elections. Very, very popular, very, very, very popular former Pakistani Prime Minister. He apparently was charged with illegally selling state gifts. He's the popular opposition leader. He was promptly arrested from his home in Lahore after the court handed down the sentence. The court also disqualified him from politics for 5 years, banning his political activities. Before being taken into custody, Khan released a video on social media saying his arrest was expected and calling on his supporters to protest peacefully. He said, "When you receive this message, I will be arrested and I will be in prison. I only have one request, one appeal for you. You must not sit quietly inside your homes. The struggle I am doing is not for my own self. It's for my nation, for you, for the future of your children." Okay. If you don't stand up for your rights, you will live lives of slaves, and slaves don't have a life. So, bada boom. Yeah, shooting off their guns tonight. Well, it sounds a little like Trump, right? Oh, politicians are being arrested and thrown in jail all over now. But yeah, Trump always called on his supporters. Like here, Trump says he expects to be arrested on Tuesday, calls for protests. This was back in March. But every single time that Trump is arrested, he's calling on his protesters, essentially saying the same thing that Khan said, which is, if you don't, we can't have this in America. We've got to fight, well, I'm using my own language, but, this tyranny. And as far as I'm concerned, Trump is the counter opposition who, is the reality TV star that is just helping to cause the division. Yes, he's speaking the truth an awful lot about what's happening with the Democrats, what's happening with mainstream media, fake news, oh, you're fake news. But I absolutely do believe that is part, of this play to cause division amongst the red and the blue team, and nothing ever gets settled. So he's kind of like Fox News. Yeah, it's sad but true. So Italians, what is the title of this? Italians starting to take matters into their own hands.
Allora lo ammazzalo. Vieni. L'ho ammazzato. Non ci credo cosa ho preso.
Oh, it looks like Portland or Seattle. New York City migrant crisis plan to place migrants inside Brooklyn rec centers draws pushback.
After the Roosevelt Hotel reached capacity, the city is now moving migrants elsewhere to rec centers in Brooklyn.
That's right. 2 centers will now share space with asylum seekers. Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez joins us live from Sunset Park with how people are taking the news. Ashley.
Natasha, Steve, you saw the lines outside the Roosevelt Hotel of migrants waiting to get in because the shelter was at capacity, sleeping on cardboard boxes overnight. Well, advocates were out there demanding that the city do something about it. So the city did. They decided to put some migrants in 2 rec centers in Brooklyn. In fact, I'm standing in front of one of them. You can see that white tent behind me. That's actually the Welcome Center. And guess what? Well, now it's residents here in Brooklyn who are telling the city to do something else. Last week, Mayor Eric Adams warned residents the migrant crisis is coming to a neighborhood near you, which is exactly what happened to residents of Sunset Park.
The people who've been here is like we're the minority now.
60 migrants are reported to be sleeping on cots inside Brooklyn's Sunset Park Rec Center, a move by the city struggling to deal with asylum seekers coming in mass every day. The city told Fox 5 it's constantly searching for new places to put people, choosing not just Sunset Park, but the McCarran Rec Center in Greenpoint as well.
I don't think this is the place that they need to stay permanently. I hope we find them better shelter, but I'm very glad that they're here, and I'm glad that my neighbors have been here to welcome them.
The rec center.
Oh, that tone of voice. It's just so sweet and nice. But I'm really glad that they're here. Well, then why did you say in the very beginning, I don't think that this is a place for them, but I'm really glad that they're here? I think you're a very confused virtue signaler. So get it straight, okay? God.
Inside the popular and heavily trafficked parks are now closed to the public, meaning no day or after school programs or public bathrooms, but the pools remain open.
The rec center was already closed, so there's been some people who are saying, they're taking away our space, but the space had already been closed for a while. It had been closed for months.
And while additional security is in place, there is concern from some residents about just who these folks are coming from Central and South America.
Who are they? Why not use a facility that's more secure? There aren't so many children around, right? My wife just got chased out of here by a guy 2 days ago.
Many migrants telling us they're trying to escape countries rotted with crime, poverty, and absolutely...
Sick of hearing that. Yes, we're just trying to escape our crime-ridden countries. So we're coming to New York that's crime-ridden. Okay, makes sense. How about UK?
Asylum seekers have boarded the British government's controversial Bibby Stockholm housing barge. The ship will be able to house up to 500 people while they await the results of their asylum applications.
Delayed, but finally here, the first coachload of asylum seekers were met by police at the gates of Portland Port. It's 3 months since the Bibby Stockholm was pulled into UK waters. Beset by safety concerns, this controversial barge now home to those who've packed their belongings after being in hotels for months.
They're economics migrants, that's why.
Is that what you think?
Yes, they are. They come here just for the money.
Outside the port, there is tension, a snapshot of an increasingly divided community.
We don't think it's humane, but we also don't think it's safe. We don't think the safety issues have been dealt with. And also, you know, nothing's really in place to welcome them. That's why we're here.
Refugees are welcome here.
Care packages are wheeled in, toiletries and notebooks for the new arrivals. Sky News was granted access on board last month. The majority will sleep 2 to a room. It's basic, but there are facilities to relax and some outside space.
This is yet another coach arriving, transferring asylum seekers from hotels onto the Bibby Stockholm. But while the asylum seekers continue to arrive, there are some groups who are working to stop those going on the barge.
Sky News has been told the Care for Calais group has helped stop around 20 asylum seekers from being moved from hotels onto the Bibby.
What you've got is a situation where people who've been through potentially torture, detention.
I can't listen to it. You know, they're just spewing certainly speculation, which is, you know, the best. Lies at the worst. How did they know they've been tortured? How did they know that they have been in detention? They don't know any of that. They're just allowing these people into the countries without checking any of that. And they seem to be, 90% of them are, what? Military-aged men. Can you please link a video sometime of a radar capture before this happened? I don't understand the comment. So, 4 and 5, Germans unhappy with federal government that prioritizes refugees and the rich. Yes. Well, I think all of us in our Western countries, you know, sat on our hands way too long. And now everything is pretty much in place, that there's, you know, I mean, even if everybody woke up, they would create a situation that would require martial law for them. And we're done. So this was the PlayStation giveaway by that Twitch influencer, Kai. And this is what took place. All of these people gathering to get a free PlayStation. I absolutely do believe that they are controlling minds. They're controlling minds. this very, 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 very large gathering of people that just came together based on something they saw on social media. This, a subscriber mentioned in the comment section below the video that he mentioned something about Rwanda. Do you hear these gunshots? I don't know what they're shooting at. Wow. It's like the first time I've heard a bird. I don't know if you can hear it. Right after the gunshot. Anyway, yeah, the Rwanda tragedy, a whole lot of frequencies were in play. And this is what I'm really worried and concerned about, that if they can pull together, a Twitch influencer, and they can pull together crowds of people like this, they can hit that crowd with electromagnetic frequencies and cause, well, a whole lot of very, very sick violence. Everyone is in danger. Wow. This is from the NAACP. Everyone is in danger. Blistering op-ed by NAACP blasts failed leadership, district attorney for rising crime in Oakland, California, called for a state of emergency to end the city's intolerable public safety crisis, excoriated the city's failed leadership, including embattled progressive district attorney Pamela Price for public safety spiraling out of control in the city. When the NAACP comes out and starts criticizing Democrats, well, there's a lot of crime, and there is a lot of crime. Oakland's escalating violence. Well, so Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, it's not a young global leader, but the World Economic Forum also has a category that's just under the world, the young global leaders, and I can't remember what that category is, the title of that category, but Michelle Wu is one of them. She's a World Economic Forum mayor. And she's a tyrant. And she's just implementing the World Economic Forum's policies. She compiled a list of vocal critics and sent it to her police department. Nixonian tactic of keeping an enemies list, which Wu justified as a security measure, might dent her image as a liberal darling in the national media. No, it won't. No, it will not. First of all, the Democrats in Massachusetts are just rah-rah. They don't care what their officials are doing. They're just rah-rah their team. And so I don't think it will even matter. Evidence that she's dictatorial and infringing on people's rights to protest. I've posted videos on Wu, and she was a big wear that mask, wear it, wear that mask. Days after the list was forwarded to police, she was strong-armed. Vital, who is Vital City Council candidate Catherine Vital said that days after the list was forwarded to police, she was strong-armed and had her megaphone confiscated by police, and weeks later, she says she was arrested while protesting peacefully at Wu's home. That was during the COVID era, and Wu is no different than an awful lot of mayors and governors around our country. But I guess Americans, a whole lot of them, they don't like their freedom and would prefer to have a tyrant tell them what to do. Study reveals drunkest cities in America are run by Democrats. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, ranked number on the list because of its lowest alcohol tax rates in the country, resulting in lower retail and wholesale prices. Milwaukee is a Democratic stronghold with an excessive drinking rate of 24.6%. I don't know what the percentages mean. Number 2 is Minneapolis, Minnesota. 3rd is Boston, Massachusetts. 4th is Buffalo, New York. Well, apparently these cities, people in them like their alcohol. 5th on the list is crime-ridden Chicago. 6th is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 7th, New Orleans. 8, Sacramento, California, which I was surprised, actually. 9 is Portland. Last but not least is Austin, Texas. Excessive drinking cost the U.S. economy $250 billion in 2010. The latest figures available. Wow, really? I guess the CDC is not keeping up with their monitoring how Americans are drinking. Loudest F. Joe Biden.
It's proof that despite the naysayers, we can make meaningful progress.
The never, ever list.
On dealing with gun violence. Because make no mistake, sit down, you'll hear what I have to say. You think?
Well, which is it, young feller?
You disgust me. How can you live with yourself?
You.
Fuck Joe Biden! Fuck Joe Biden! Fuck Joe Biden!
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Did this really happen? This was posted today, or a day ago. I guess it did. Again, I'm going to say, I do recommend that you subscribe to James Klug. And if you think to yourself, well, you didn't subscribe, I'm on Never Lose Truth 5, and I didn't do a lot of hitting that button. But just, it's really scary how people think.
No, I don't. No.
We're not trained, and I don't know, are you a trained librarian to make a conclusion like that?
This content, again, is sexually explicit. This is pornography.
So, he's at the Moms for Liberty convention or whatever, but he's showing these people pornographic pictures in books, pornographic material, to people who are protesting Moms for Liberty. And now I guess you have to be a librarian to determine whether or not a book that's pornographic is age appropriate. Really? You got to be a librarian? All right, let me move it along a little.
Books that they're looking to have removed from schools. Why are you shutting down her voice right now?
I'm a guy, actually.
No one's trying to shut down your voice. We don't speak to fascists.
Yeah,
and so we're good.
I'm not a fascist.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
Why are you guys protesting Moms for Liberty?
Because they're pretty much against all the things that I value.
They're basically for authoritarian government. They're against democracy. They're anti-LGBTQ people's existence. And I'm very comfortable now not calling these people fascists as a way of insulting them or calling them names.
You genuinely mean it.
Descriptive, historic meaning, and there's no other way to categorize them.
We're obviously...
And it's actually the opposite of what that guy just said, who has handed his brain over to the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the U.S. government, and mainstream media. It's sickening. Oh, man.
Here at the Moms for Liberty Summit, we're speaking with some protesters. We'll start with the first accusation that they've made, and that is that Moms for Liberty represents and supports fascism. Are you a fascist?
No, I'm not.
Are you guys fascists?
I'm not. Are you? I am not fascist.
No, I am not. I am a proud American who love this country, the land of opportunities.
You're here at Moms for Liberty. You're obviously not a part of it, but you're here, working the event and all that stuff. Are you a fascist, and do you think that these people come off as fascists?
Well, last time I checked, I was not a fascist. And I actually know both the founders, Tina and Tiffany. They're moms. These regular people. They're very humble. They're not fascist whatsoever. They just care about the state of children.
It's kind of funny when they say that we're Nazis. It's funny and silly to me, and I just don't. All we're doing is trying to protect our children, save America, and that's all that we're doing. So, and of course, empowering parents. So, of course not. No fascist.
Nope.
All right, so we got that out of the way.
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
What would some examples be for you that would kind of show you that this is more of a fascist group?
I have an answer to that. Because besides their platform, which is anything but freedom or liberty, what they do is they harass and intimidate people who want to speak out against what they're doing. On the local level, there has been harassment and intimidation by this group. And again, they are not for the values that any American should cherish, regardless of their political party or affiliation, or if they're not even politically.
Oh my God! How did we get this corrupted? How did we get this? How did we get so warped to have people who she's for defense of democracy, thinking that Moms for Liberty, and of course they have to have a counter organization, and they're paid, okay? They're paid to do this, but we literally have pornographic material now in schools, in libraries, for children, which is not appropriate at all. And then you have these freaks, and they are freaks, that I don't, what could you possibly, are they pedophiles? Maybe they are. They're not right in the head. And they think that Moms for Liberty is destroying democracy just because they think it's important to get the pornographic material out of schools. Wow. We have a whole lot of incredibly sick, very sick Americans. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost worse that they're paid to do this, because that's really, I mean, if she actually believes this, then the warped brain, well, she needs help. If she's paid to spew all of what she's saying, then she's downright just a disgusting human being. All right, well.
Messaging is really clear, but it uses pseudo.
Dr. Anna Lutfi and the.
So this is the woman who is taking the UK government or the British government suing them because of what is being taught in primary schools. Perhaps we could think of doing something like that. Not you guys or me, but a whole lot who have the resources to do that with the US government.
The Bad Law Project are suing the government for trying to teach children as young as 5 divisive issues. Families of some of the children have come together to file a class action lawsuit against the UK government and the Department of Education. They're calling for personal, social, health and economic education, known as PSHE, to be abolished in schools and for parents to have the right to withdraw their children from lessons dealing with sex, health and relationships. I'm delighted to say that Equality and Human Rights barrister Dr. Anna Lutfi joins me now. Thanks very much for joining me. Can I ask you firstly about what's going on in schools? Because I've seen some materials from various parents in terms of sex education. Some of it has been quite shocking, actually, but I think still people deny that there is any kind of problem here.
Yeah, I think when you introduced us now, the topic, you talked about the Department for Education teaching children in schools. That is not the issue. What's the issue is that we have rogue actors who are posing as charities, what we call the third sector. These organisations, they are completely unregulated. They produce the materials. Sometimes they produce the materials outside of the national jurisdiction. So we'll find, for example, certain local education authorities using materials that have been taken from the United States.
Yes.
And there is no oversight on the content of these materials. And what we are finding is that advocacy groups are choosing, their own pick and mix ideas of what children should or shouldn't know. There's no oversight. Parents are not really invited to be part of that discussion. And what we do see is that some of these materials clearly engage both the civil law and the criminal law in terms of their suitability for children at certain age groups.
So there's the element of the sexual explicit aspect. I mean, I have a friend who's a parent of a boy of 6. She showed me some of the materials, and she said when she tried to have her son removed, they told her you can't. The government says this is compulsory. So although it is an outside agent providing the materials, the school seems to believe that the government is making them do it. Do you think that's possible?
Yes, 100%. I've seen the materials myself. I think we've lost, thanks to the third sector, which has now seized complete control of education in this area called PSHE, we have lost control of regulation in the same manner as we would lose control if there had been a military coup and we had a junta taking control of the schools. We're simply not allowed to have the conversation about what these materials are for, what the purpose of them is, but more importantly, we have, as a nation, speaking about the UK, we have lost any discernment about what age groups are suitable for certain kinds of materials. We simply have stopped having that conversation. All materials provided by the third sector to schools are considered to be appropriate because the third sector has appointed itself experts in the area. And therefore, if something is considered age inappropriate by a parent or a teacher, but the experts, the third sector says, no, this is absolutely fine, that becomes the end of the conversation. And any parent, any teacher, and any young person who has qualms, as we saw in the school in East Sussex, where 2 13-year-old girls raised questions about what they were being taught in PSHE, they're actually insulted and called bigots.
Yes. So
Okay, yeah, governments have gone rogue. And yes, UK, I have said this before, I'll say it again, the UK was out front on surveillance, still is. From covert to overt, UK government and businesses seek to unleash facial recognition technologies across urban landscape. The Home Office is encouraging police forces across the country to make use of live facial recognition technologies for routine law enforcement. Retailers are also embracing the technology to monitor their customers. It increasingly seems that the UK decoupled from the European Union, its rules and regulations only for its government to take the country in a progressively more authoritarian direction. This is, of course, a generalized trend among ostensibly liberal democracies just about everywhere, including EU member states, as they increasingly adopt the trappings and tactics of more authoritarian regimes, such as restricting free speech, canceling people, and weakening the rule of law. But the UK is most definitely at the leading edge of this trend. A case in point, the Home Office's naked enthusiasm for biometric surveillance and control technologies. The Minister for Policing, Chris Philip, and other senior figures of the Home Office had held a closed-door meeting with Simon Gordon, the founder of FaceWatch, a leading facial recognition retail security company. The main outcome of the meeting was that the government would lobby the Information Commissioner's Office on the benefits of using live facial recognition technologies in retail settings, and the lobbying effort was apparently successful. The ICU, which is the Information Commissioner's Office, the ICU sent a letter to FaceWatch affirming that the company has a legitimate purpose for using people's information for the detection and prevention of crime, and that its services broadly comply with UK data protection laws. ICU's approval gives legal cover to a practice that is already well established. FaceWatch has been scanning the faces of British shoppers in thousands of retail stores across the UK for years. The cameras scan faces as people enter a store and screens them against a database of known offenders, alerting shop assistants if a subject of interest has entered. Crime. It's pre-crime. It's a pre-crime technology. Government outsourcing, yes, outsourcing the authoritarianism. That's exactly what governments do. That's how the U.S. outsourced to these so-called privately owned social media companies to destroy the First Amendment. It is happening because of a recent explosion in shoplifting. Yes, crime to be used to control people. And so far, 400 British retailers, including some very large retail chains, Sports Direct, Spar, the Co-op, have installed FaceWatch's cameras. As Guardian puts it, the government is effectively sanctioning a private business to do the job that police once routinely did. London's Metropolitan Police Service and South Wales Police and the US have been trialing live facial recognition in public places for a number of years. The live facial recognition has been used in England and Wales for a number of events, including protest concerts, the Notting Hill Carnival, and also on busy thoroughfares such as Oxford Street in London. Getting that face, just wait until the social credit system comes into full play. Unbelievably, we now have governors issuing executive orders defining biological sex. This is how low this country has gone. You need your leader to define biological sex. Gee, I wonder what that definition is. I think it's the order defines a female as a natural person whose biological reproductive system is designed to produce ova. A male is defined as a natural person whose biological reproductive system is designed to fertilize the ova of a female. The order also defines mother, father, man, boy, woman, girl, sex, and natural person. Well, that's good, because surely Americans need to understand, well, what does all of that mean that I just read now? Okay, mother, father, man, boy, woman, girl, sex, whatever. The order is not permanent. The only way for the order to be permanent is to pass the wording as a bill through the legislature. Oh boy. All right, Ice Cube tells black voters, Dem exit. Get away from the Democrats.
Remember when Joe Biden said this?
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
He's telling a black guy if he's black or not. Joe Biden will be the arbiter of who's black.
And I guess that's why he got 71 million votes or 81 million votes. What a joke. But man, it reflects Americans. So yeah, we're a joke of a people.
Or not. Rapper Ice Cube sits down with Tucker Carlson and tells the black community to walk away from the Democratic Party.
People want your vote. They have to do something to earn it. If they don't earn it, why are you going down there and pulling that lever?
Because the other side hates you. That's the pitch they make. We may suck, but the other side hates you.
You're supposed to dance with the person you brought.
Yeah.
You know? And the person that brought you to the dance, you guys are supposed to dance together. And if that doesn't happen, you got to go find another dancing partner before the night is up and the music stops.
Bam!
All right. And another one. This is interesting. Back in 1998, Conspiracy Theory Rock aired on Saturday Night Live. It was never aired again.
That's why they think that racism is a big problem in America. It's not. That's what the media wants you to think. They want you to think that the country hates each other. The country doesn't. I travel the country. People love each other. They want us to hate each other. And now here, and people don't know that they're propagandized. And so now here is from 1998 on SNL. This aired on General Electric owned NBC.
Mediaopoly, a mediaopoly. The whole media is controlled by a few corporations thanks to deregulation by the FCC.
You mean Disney, Fox, Westinghouse, and good old GE?
They own networks from CBS to CNBC.
They can use them to say whatever they please and put down the opinions of anyone who disagrees.
Or stuff about PCBs.
What are PCBs?
They come from electric power plants built by Westinghouse and GE.
They can give you lots of cancer that can hurt your body.
But on network TV, you rarely hear anything bad about the nuclear industry.
Like when Westinghouse was sued for fraud.
Which time?
When GE made defective bolts, it was an unreported crime. Or when it was boycotted for operating nuclear bomb plants just to squeeze a dime.
That's a footnote, by the way.
A footnote protects you from folks who doubt what you say. Now maybe the voices in my head will go away.
But the big shots don't care. They're all sitting pretty thanks to corporate welfare.
What's that now?
They get billions in subsidies from the government. It's supposed to create jobs, but that's not how it's spent. They use tax and soft money to support congressmen who will vote for weapons programs again and again and let them dump toxic waste where the young ones play.
INGE made the bullets that shot JFK.
You contribute to this chain every time you buy a product sponsored on this show.
That's what NBC doesn't want you to know. So the next time please stand by. You know it's all part of Dee Dee's big lie.
Why they take Norm MacDonald away?
Cause he made too many jokes about OJ.
Was Lorne Michaels overruled?
Now don't be fooled. He and Marion Barry went to the same high school.
Interesting, 1998. We have been getting the truth for a very, very, very long time, and we didn't do anything. And that's why we're in the mess we're in. Oh well. Constitutional Republic, what a great idea. Too bad it didn't manifest. But it was a great idea. The American experiment. It's over. We know the results. All right, guys, so be safe out there. Let's just check out radar one more time. Wait, here and here. Nasty storms going through Pennsylvania into New Jersey, engulfing New Jersey. Nasty storms in central Georgia, South Carolina, with your extremely low frequencies hitting that storm. Here we've just got supercells all over. I believe L78 lives right where this thunderstorm is happening. Be safe. Be prepared and be safe. You can see the frequencies right on the outskirts of this storm. Well, they gave Montana a breather. Okay, turn off those extremely low frequencies for Montana that had been ripping for hours. These are nasty storms here in Nebraska and into Kansas. Wow. Yeah, we're going to see more damage tomorrow. We'll see more destruction tomorrow. All right. So, make sure that awareness is always on 24/7 wherever you are. Be a force of good out in the world. Help those in your community. Become engaged. Become a trustworthy human being, which means you speak honestly and you live honestly. And thank you for showing up. I'll probably see you tomorrow because I need something to do as I wait to hit the road. So, on that note, I say, as always, good night and good luck. Ooh, things are going to get pretty crazy. Ciao, guys.